Hi, I'm Safi Usmani, and you're welcome to another episode of the Fulbright Women Podcast Season 1, where we bring to you the brightest women of Pakistan and reveal all the great things they're doing in their fields. Today we have someone with us who's a Fulbright scholar and also a Pulitzer Moore Fellow. She went to Columbia University to get her master's in print journalism, and she's been working in Pakistan for over 15 years as an arts and culture journalist. She has contributed to national as well as international publications like Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, Al Jazeera, as well as The Diplomat. And she's not stopping there. Apart from being a journalist, she's also an entrepreneur. She has a startup called From Lahore with Love. I cannot wait to learn about everything she does and how she does it. Everyone, please help me welcome Sonia Rehman. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, Safia. Thank you so much for arranging this. I'm super excited.
No, of course, I'm also super excited. Sonia, I have my first question for you, and I've been thinking about this a lot. Journalism, you do so many things, right? But let's talk about journalism. We all know that Pakistan is one of the most dangerous countries for journalists, right? And we know where we stand on the Press Freedom Index, and then add your gender to that mix. Why journalism?
Safia, at the time when I started out, as a writer, I was only 19 years old. And us waqt at that time, the media scene was new. TV channels, licenses for radio stations, new publications, fashion channels, you name it, were launching left, right, and center. So at that time, yes, things were bad. Being a woman, being a reporter, being in the field, working in a male-dominated industry. But at that time, it started getting a lot better. There were a lot of young women getting out there, joining TV channels, becoming reporters, becoming feature writers, becoming radio presenters. So while all of this was happening around me, I'd always loved writing. And I was at that time doing a bachelor's in finance from the Lahore School of Economics. And it was a very dry program. I wasn't very good at it either. And I was just like, I have to start writing or doing something creative. And achanak se ye hua ki I saw an advertisement that they were looking for an intern. So I was 19, I applied, I got the internship. And the rest was absolute history, Safia. I enjoyed it so much. And I just thought, here's a field where I can express myself freely. I can write about whatever I want. I can interview wonderful people. And, that is something that stayed with me. So, yeah.
You did your master's in print journalism. There are some people who say print journalism is dying, while there is a group of people that say it's just going through a transformation. What is your take as a journalist?
Okay, that's a really good question. So I went in 2009, and I remember my first class was with one of my professors. There were a few of us sitting in class because our batch of over 200 students, we were broken down into let's say 15 to 20 batches. 15 to 20 students per batch, right? So we could get one-on-one attention by our professors. And I remember at that time, this very senior journalist who was our professor at the time, he looked at us and said, guys, you should be prepared. Print is dying. And I didn't want to believe him, I was just like, oh God, because I knew back home it was still, print journalism was still there. Like websites and blogs and that entire thing, multimedia, was going to take some time. But it was such a shocker to me. But it has changed. The model has changed. And you're absolutely right. I think print journalism has died in the world, in the West. However, the new models of print journalism have survived. Like you still have your supplements. Readers still like having the hard copy. But you will have versions of it. You'll have the online space, which is catering to a different market, but you will still have your hard copy as well. Because, really at the end of the day, that's how publications make money, through advertisements. So I think Pakistan it has petered out, but it is still there. I mean, we see so many fashion glossies. We see, some of our main publications, the news, Dawn. They're still there, but they also have a very strong online presence. So it's happening in tandem.
Yeah, I get it. But then, Sonia, I'm wondering how did that, this change that was happening in the industry affect you and your
Yeah.
strategy for your career? How did you think about, taking your career forward then?
So at that time, that's a brilliant question. See, the thing is, Safia, I feel like in any sector, in any field that you're in, you have to always be ready to learn new skills, right? Um, उन दिनों में in 2009, I loved photography, but I was a complete amateur. So my lab say university ke lab say I would take equipment and I'd go around the city, I'd go around New York and I'd start photographing places, making videos and things like that. That was my first introduction to a new skill, a new avenue within media, within journalism. And I see that happening a lot now. There's so many young journalists in their 20s, mid 20s, early 20s who are just starting out, who are absolute pros when it comes to the digital journalism sphere. They are so good with making videos. We have so many travel bloggers in Pakistan, local travel bloggers, that is, who are doing phenomenal work. So I think the younger generation, like I think my generation has taken a little time to kind of like pick up these skills. But the younger generation is super smart because they've been exposed to it. So I think it's because of them, the field of media is sustaining itself in Pakistan.
So the first time you picked a camera,
Yeah.
went to your campus to get your
Yeah.
camera, right? What made you decide that, okay, photography is something that you want to try? And how scary was that feeling of trying to learn a new skill? And where do you stand now?
So photography was, part of our course in our first year, in our first semester. And, it was just something that I always found fascinating. I just thought like, apart from text, I can also tell a story through visuals. I can tell a story through a photo essay, and I can support it with text. So for me, that blew my mind, like photo essays, moving visuals with text absolutely blew my mind. And so that was something that really inspired me. And I just thought I should pursue this. I should continue this. And the first time I took out the camera, I got the camera from the university lab and went around. New Yorkers are known to be a little rude, not all, a few. And of course, that was the first rule of journalism. Ask people their permission first that you want to photograph them, right? So I remember a lot of people are like, stop taking my photo. But anyway, I learned that, I also got to understand the city by interacting with people and, making videos of them, interviewing them. And that's how I think I kind of like slowly broke into this medium of journalism, photography and videos.
So I see there's a pattern here, Sonia, and of course, I would want you to talk about that. I'm just going to give you a couple of prompts. I
Okay.
think you've carried all of that experience into your startup, pictures and going around town. Can you talk about your startup From Lahore with Love?
Absolutely, Safia. My startup, it's about 8 years old now, a little over 8 years old. And when I came back, I continued, being in tourist mode. I was a tourist in New York for 10 months. It was a short master's program, a Master of Science. And when I came back, I still felt like a tourist. And I was looking at Lahore, my birth city, with fresh eyes. And I was so fascinated. So I invested in a camera, paise jod jod ke, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the walled city and I'm going to start taking photos. Going around the walled city, taking pictures of these beautiful monuments, heritage buildings, reading up on them, ke pre-partition buildings, kinhone banaya, what the architecture is like, certain aspects of it, what they're like today, and all of that, vis-a-vis conservation, vagera. And then I slowly started uploading those pictures on Facebook in my album. And many friends of mine were like, "Oh my God, these are such lovely pictures. Why don't you make postcards?" Like one or two friends, mentioned that, and I was like, "Okay, that's a great idea." So I made a couple of postcards and printed them out, and made this page just on a whim, called it From Lahore with Love. And 8 years later, the growth has been very slow. I only have about 3,700 followers on Instagram and about 3,000 as well on Facebook. But it's been such a journey. And from postcards, I went to tote bags. Basically, my entire premise was, Safia, I wanted Lahoris, I wanted visitors coming to Lahore to appreciate this beautiful city, and to be connected with it.
So, walking around town, taking pictures, and being a journalist, a female journalist in Pakistan, if you put a lens of gender on it, how has your experience been?
Safia, see, the thing is that I really think it depends from person to person, from case to case. Just bear in mind that I've never been a political journalist. I have only focused on art and culture, and more recently now, the tech startup scene in Pakistan. I've never experienced anything untoward, out in the field, in any organizations. Yes, there have been a couple of times where I have dealt with misogynistic remarks or attitudes in a media field in Pakistan, that is. But going out and about, taking pictures, discovering my city, I've never experienced anything ugly, anything where I felt unsafe as such. I mean, look at it this way. Just yesterday, I was speaking to an acquaintance of mine. She's founded her own domestic travel company in Pakistan. She travels alone. She's a Pakistani, travels alone within Pakistan, travels with girls. She tailor makes groups, experiences within Pakistan, and they've never had any awful experiences, Allah ka shukr hai, within the country while traveling. So I really think it depends from person to person. Yes, the media field, like I was telling you before, is, up and down. There are women who faced a lot of job insecurities, a lot of harassment, and a lot of, untoward, advances, etc., from, colleagues or whoever that they've worked with. But at the same time, again, it depends from person to person. I do feel that Pakistan is changing vis-a-vis anti-harassment laws. Organizations have become very clear about it now. Okay, we will not tolerate anything like that in our work environment. So I think it is changing. Awareness bhi aa gayi hai, and yeah.
That's a great point you raised about, the experience ranging from person to person. Sometimes I feel there are different factors involved in it, right? Sometimes I feel like the kind of organization you're working with, the kind of environment you're putting yourself in, sometimes if I'm just probably, working from home, I can manage my own, environment and experience more. But in terms of, I have another question for you then, because I have spoken to a couple of journalists and sometimes women journalists, and sometimes they say they are hesitant in as much as they want to be vocal on social media, for example, they're sometimes hesitant about being very vocal about their opinions because the trolls would directly attack what they're wearing, how they're looking.
Yes.
Has that ever happened with you on the digital, media?
To be honest, Safia, it never has, because I'm a bit of a coward when it comes to using social media. And it's true, I'm not being humble or anything. I'm an absolute coward because I think trolls in Pakistan, online trolls, are very vicious. I know so many people, acquaintances, people I follow on Twitter, friends of mine who've received death threats, rape threats, vis-a-vis things that they've shared on social media, on Twitter particularly, because it's very awami, it's very public. I've always been very careful, talking about certain topics like religion, um, primarily religion. So I think one has to, be very, very careful vis-a-vis what one is sharing. Because not everyone, has that same level of privilege that you do vis-a-vis education, awareness. And the other thing is, every human being perceives things in their own way, vis-a-vis their conditioning, vis-a-vis their upbringing. So you have to be very careful. You have to approach social media in a very methodical way. I mean, that's my opinion.
Let's get back to your writing. Arts and culture. You've been a journalist in arts and culture for over 15 years now, right? And you've written for Forbes, the Wall Street Journal, and all these big international publications. What is that experience like? Was that a strategy there to, find yourself working with international publications? How did you get there?
Yeah, absolutely, Safia. When I came back, I was just like, okay, I've written for all these local publications. I want to continue writing for them. But my main thing was that I want to continue promoting Pakistani art and culture, our unsung heroes through these big, big publications. So, Safia, I would knock on doors. I became so deep. I would send pitches after pitches after pitches to all these big publications. I would look up, their masthead online, see who the editors and assistant editors are, who the team is, approach them through their social media. And that's how I got all these projects. Really, that's the way to go. And it was very difficult at first. मैं बहुत जल्दी मैं हार मान जाती हूँ. I used to feel very demotivated when I'd get rejections. But I had this passion in me, this fire in me, कि यार, we have such amazing stories. There's a craftsman, let's say, in the Wall City in Lahore, someone in Chennai, someone, in Swat, who's doing such incredible work, who's carrying forward and sustaining their family art. You know what I mean? So I had this passion in me that I want to promote people like that. I want to promote our crafts, which are at risk of dying out. And I feel, Jab, when you have that niyat, when you have that belief, things just fall into place. And I was very lucky, by the grace of God, that I got all these projects. And even now, I recently was approached by Khaleej Times. They wanted me to write for them. Just yesterday, I filed my second story for them. I just feel that when you're doing good work and when you have a very strong sense of how you want to better your world, better your community, things just happen for you,
And I see that the same intent is in your case. It's the same intent, whether it's writing, photography, or your entrepreneurial project. I want to understand a little bit more. What is it that you've learned in terms, as a business person over the years that you probably didn't know starting out?
Okay, yeah, that's a really good question. Honestly, I think I'm terrible at business. I have not understood algorithms, paying for certain posts on Facebook or Instagram. I just have, and I've always had this. I've always felt very stubborn. Okay, why do I have to pay to promote work which is celebrating this beautiful city and celebrating such wonderful people? But it's stupid, honestly. And I've woken up to that a bit late, and I woke up to that only last year. Basically, to answer your question is, I think it's very important as an entrepreneur, someone who believes in their startup so much, to be willing to change the model, to be willing to move with the times, and to be willing to incorporate new ideas to make it grow and to make it flourish. So I think that is one thing that I have kind of struggled with. I'm a one-woman show. I haven't hired anyone for it. Whatever posts that you see on social media, on From the How It Love, is all me. But I think abhi aake, it's important, Safia, for entrepreneurs, and especially in the startup scene, to look at funding, to look at getting angel investors, to look at getting mentors, to come on board and to help them, to guide them on how to make their business grow, and also, as a result, make a bigger impact with their work.
How does one look for an angel investor or kind of an ecosystem that could support them as an entrepreneur in Pakistan? Where, if there are people listening to you and they want to start their own startups, perhaps, what is that one advice you would want to give them, where to start looking?
So the startup scene is big in Pakistan, Safia, and it has been growing over the past couple of years. I would encourage those of you tuning in who want to launch a startup to look into I2I. I2I Ventures by Kulsum Lakhani. She's fantastic. There's so many other startup incubators in Pakistan. You've got Plan 9 in Lahore, which is situated in Alpha Technology Park. And there's so many others as well. I2I does, startup incubators as well. So just do a bit of research. It's all there. And it's very simple, very straightforward. Apply, just check out what the dates are. Reach out to these people. Cold call them, cold email them, and they will respond because it's a very encouraging environment for budding young entrepreneurs in this day and age.
Sonia, we've talked about so many of your projects and all of them great projects, and you've been working really hard for all of them, right? What is it that you're doing these days? What is your current project that you want to talk about?
So I'm very excited about my children's book, Safia. Inshallah, it's going to be out this summer. If not, maybe September, October. It's a book on animal empathy and animal kindness. It's targeted to 8 to 9-year-olds. And this has been a dream for a while now. I have been dying to write for children. And during the lockdown, I finally mustered up the courage to write a synopsis and to really put this project into, a tangible book. So that's something that's taking up my time. I'm hoping to wrap it up by the end of this month. And let's see what the future holds. My thing is, Safia, I know some people who might be watching this or might be of the opinion, oh my God, she does so many things. Jack of all trades is not a good thing. But then again, I think life is so unpredictable. It's so fragile, right? Wear different hats, experience things, do different things. And that's how you find yourself. And that's how you realize what you really want to do in life. You just have one life to live.
Well, I think, Sonia, that's a great note to wrap this conversation on, that I really agree with you on that. Why put limitations on ourselves? Why put boundaries, right? If you want to do something, go ahead and try it. Learn new skills, go have new experiences, grow yourself, pivot, like you said, and just live your life the way you want without really having the, fear of judgment, right? So thank you so much, Sonia, for taking out time to speak with me. I'm going to say that again. And all the best with everything, with your entrepreneurial project, with your book. I cannot wait, just for the book to be out so that we could read it. But you have to tell us when it's out. And I hope to talk to you soon again.
Thank you so much, Safia. Wonderful questions and good luck. Thank you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Bye.